Greetings, everyone. This is John Clausen with Redshift. Welcome to the Espresso demo series. The session today, along with the demo, is going to discuss how to discover how many doppelgangers your domains have. That's right, how many doppelgangers. So I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a great discussion, and I'm providing a demo so you can see exactly what's available today. First, a quick housekeeping item. If you have questions at any time, there's the Q&A button. I've got that open and we'll keep an eye out for it. And I've also set aside time at the end of the session so we can do a full, proper Q&A to go through what's come up on here. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like you to learn how to discover, classify, and take down lookalike domains that may be using your email, web, or logos to fish and impersonate your brand. And to show you about that, we'll cover three areas. We want you to understand first what lookalike domains and subdomains you can discover by entering a single domain. And these may be some legitimate domains. We find customers have started up marketing campaigns or other things, and maybe the IT security folks weren't notified about it, or things have changed, those things happen. So we'll help you out with both of those cases. And also we'll learn about how logo detection speeds the investigation of assets that are being illegitimately used, and how you can use those findings to get a takedown going, shorten the time to complete a successful takedown. So that's a really important thing, to make sure that we don't just identify problems, but we help you solve them. And then the third area is you'll gain insight into how CTEM, continuous threat exposure management, paints the full picture of a domain's health and validity. And there are a number of capabilities that come through the Redshift platform. On domain that we're looking at today is built on that, as well as Harmonize. So they can work together, providing, exchanging data and capabilities. And we'll see how we share those on there in the CTEM perspective. So first off, I always get a smile on my face when I think of doppelgangers. A couple times somebody had said someone is my doppelganger, but I think this example here is just brilliant. So is it Shakira or not Shakira? And I'm just amazed that two people who are not related can share so many, they just look alike that's on here. And I think the real question for you today is, how many not Shakiras are there? So how many doppelgangers are there out there? And I'm going to go through how you will find that answer on here. So again, I just look at these two and it's like, wow. So one of the things that I've learned in researching the doppelgangers is it's not just about lookalike. There's obviously similarities to there. But what's really important are some of the underlying behavior, genetic traits, and other things that that also come along with it, so that someone doesn't just look like someone, but they act like it. And again, going into the world of domains, that's absolutely critical. Domains, there's many different characteristics, many different ways that they can be used for good or for bad. The attacks through email, impersonations, websites, and so on here. So just keep in mind that these similarities run more than skin deep, and we'll show you how you can see those. So we're going to go into the demo here. First, I always like to ask, have you ever seen a bad software demo? Well, I have. In fact, I've given some bad software demos. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm making sure you're going to get a great demo today on here. So let me switch over to the actual product, Redshift. And what I'm looking at here is a couple of things. So first off, I wanted to go in and see the different activity that's going on. Essentially, what you'll see here is a list of lookalikes that On Domain has generated for you. So working from the platform, we're looking at all your known assets and generating a list of lookalikes for you to work through. Now, I'd love to be able to give each of you a demo of what your domain looks like, the lookalikes for it, but I can't because there's too many of you. So what I've done is I picked an example that I think we can all relate to. In this case, the lookalikes that are coming here are all from a company called Lee Jeans. They're a very popular brand, I think throughout the world, but certainly in the US. And they're now grouped with brands like Wrangler under a parent company. But just think of jeans and all the different ways that come out. And of course, you can imagine with a name like Lee Jeans that there can be a lot of lookalikes on that. So the first thing we're seeing here, as I mentioned, are all the lookalikes that have been generated for you. And then when we go across here, the different columns, we're seeing different attributes or properties about the domain. So the lookalikes that have come up here. And it goes all the way from here you can see the DNS that's used. We put things into categories for you, the name service, does it have DMARC, and so on here. Now, what I want you to be able to do, it's important that you can see these lookalikes, but understand how to classify them to get a handle on these. So when we look at this particular lookalike domain, it's potentially something that could be for your environment. It could be a domain you've forgotten about. It could be one that's attacking you and so on here. And what's important about this is we're helping you to see right away what's going on here. So first off, I can see the difference. So lee.com are the blue jeans domain we're looking at. And the differences I can see here is it belongs to co.th. Anybody know what the .th TLD is? Yeah, that's right. It's Thailand. So this potentially could be a great market for Lee Jeans. Potentially, maybe they're not there, and they might be the best seller and not even know it. But what we're looking at here are things like, is this domain web ready or email ready? So it could be being used already to spoof emails, to have a lookalike website to attract people to. And then we could go through into many details here, such as who is information and so on here. So you can get a really full picture on it. One of the things that comes up frequently is that customers are really interested in, is their domain, does the logo exist on this domain? So you can see here that there are 3 instances where Lee Jeans logo is on here. And also we can show you the path that comes up to here. So it's not going off to a different site. So that's a good sign that's on here. So I would say there's a very it's very likely that this is actually a domain that's owned by the company, by Lee Jeans. And we can simply classify it here once we've taken a look at this as low, high risk, or in this case, we'd add it to our domains that are on here. And if it was really bad, we could even mark it directly for takedown. There's an integrated takedown service that I'll cover more into here. So this was an example where I just picked because it had a high risk factor. That's what I sorted on here. But you can tell there's lots that's out here. And one of the things that I found now when I look at these is that here's a doppelganger for me. So I kept looking at this and I kept going, my gosh, how can Lee.com be a lookalike of Lee.com? Well, as you can see, we're saying that it's parked and we're saying that there's a different character there. So I'm going to go right in and take a look at this. And lo and behold, they've cleverly used the number 1 instead of the letter L here. So this is telling me that it's a lookalike, and this is one of the techniques that people use, attackers use on here. And I can go down right here and see what's going on, and I can see that no surprise, we had labeled it as parked, so it's not being used. I'm a little concerned because there is a web page here, and it's saying that it's for sale. So some of the customers I work with actually buy domains. One has over 900 domains they've purchased to protect themselves with. And I'd much rather see this either not have a web page at all or redirect to the main page. But the point is, right away, you can tell what's going on with this. and see what's on here, that it's a park domain, and you can decide if you want to file it as low risk or whatever that's on here. Now, let me go into one that could be a little more challenging here. And this is one where I'd already marked it high risk just for the sake of the demo time. And, it's a little suspicious to me because it's got .ru in the name. So that's Russia, of course. And I can see some of the different characteristics along here. It seems like it's potentially coming, coming from Russia, but it's registered. I think it's bad. So I think this is something we should consider for a takedown. And so what I can look at here, besides the fact that it's web and email ready and all the other information, I actually wanted to take a look here. And this looks like the logo. So they could be using the logo without approval. And it's also, I noticed here that it's owned by a different group. It's not owned by Lee Jean. So, again, potentially it could be a partner or something, but I'll use it as an example of how we would take this one down. So from the takedown tab here, I've marked this one for takedown. And takedowns can cause a lot of challenges for customers. I worked with a customer who had a website, or was told about a website. They didn't own it, but it was on a lookalike domain. It was hosted in China. It had their logo on it, and it had an app for your smartphone that was claiming to be a cryptocurrency trading app. And it was really frustrating. They've been trying for over 2 months to take it down, and they just wasn't happening. So what we have provided to help you with is to let you have one place where you can gather all the evidence here. So all the things we talked about that come up and could help identify what's fraudulent about this, why we think it's fraud, including use of the logo. And then have that be submitted to our takedown, integrated takedown service partner. And they have the relationships established and working with registrars around the world, including countries like Russia, China, and Vietnam, where it's very difficult to get things done if you don't know who to talk to. And we also made it very easy for the customer, you, to add in additional evidence if you've got phishing emails, screenshots of websites, things like that. In addition to what's here, you can just put that in, click apply. And when the customer that I mentioned that had the lookalike site with the cryptocurrency trading app in China did that, in a week, that site was taken down. So that's one of the most difficult takedowns you can do, to have an ISP and a registrar in different countries, especially China. And they were able to do that. Oftentimes, you can start a takedown, and that can happen within a day or two. Again, it varies. Each situation is a little bit different on there, but the point is, you're not going to your legal group. You're not going to, try to talk to GoDaddy and see if they'll respond to your request about fraud and so on there. So that's where we are with that, in terms of being able to see all the lookalikes that are up here, being able to have enough information to classify them into low or high risk, and to do the takedown, even when it's somebody that's putting you in a difficult spot on there. Now, the question is how did we get here? So we got here with two things. So the first was very simple. They're both simple. We uploaded the logo here. So you can have logos for your brand and put them in here. What we'll do then is, we've been using AI for quite a while to do machine vision. So we can see these logos on web pages. We can also see them on products. They might have been rotated, or they might be on a picture of a building. So we do great look at this, helping you see where your logo is being used on there. And the second part is you put in a logo, a domain, to tell us where to start looking from. So in this case, I could put in just a single domain, lee.com for Lee Jeans. And I added two on here just because I wanted to show you the relationship between them. So Lee and Wrangler are both brands of jeans that are now owned by Contour Brands. And as we go through and look here, I can see a number of different things about the domain. So this is an actual domain, but it's instructive to see things like how the redirects are going from, tracking marketing campaigns or ad revenue, things like that. We're showing you exactly where things go, and then of course seeing the logo that's on here. We can also use a feature that we've added in for an email trap. So an email trap is think of a honeypot where we're trying to attract some of the email to see what's going on here, people using it. So in this case, we have some sample emails that have been in the trap. We can see the sender reputation where it's green and a high number is good. Red and negative is a very, very poor reputation that's on here. And then we can see right away that, some of these look like they're just fine. They pass SPF and DKIM and DMARC. But this one here is, it's failing SPF. There's no DKIM set up, and it's in China. So DMARC is failing on here. So someone attempted to send an email here and it didn't pass DMARC. So we can know that something's going on here. And we can look at all the details on here. Who's using it, where it came from, where it would go back to, even where it was sent from. So all those details that can be very, very helpful on that. So from these domains, I can see the traffic and everything else going on. I wanted to go and show you one more thing that we're doing that I think is really exciting. So this is a brand new capability, and we're using GPT, the Chat GPT for generative AI. And what we're doing here is we're able now to solve a problem that really wasn't possible before the use of this. And that is that through the common platform, the Redshift platform, we're seeing all the assets, all the domains that Hardnice has identified. And now we want to understand how those are related to each other. What's the significance of them and such. So what we're able to do then is bring in these as identities. So information we found here and give an explanation for it. So an identity could be that it was an org name on a certificate, who is a registrant name. And then we put these together and are able to go through and understand the relationship that Wrangler and Lee are both Contour Brands companies, and that the recommendation is to enable these so we can get more information on there. So I'm going to go back to the slides for just a minute, and then we'll get into the Q&A here. So just a quick review of what you saw here, just to help this sink in. So the first thing is that it's very simple. We're letting you put in one domain and a logo, and then we're going through and finding all the variants of that, all the doppelgangers, right? All these different ways that come in here, and then looking at DNS signals for those. Once you've classified them, or even if you haven't, we can show recent changes. So if they're web and email enabled, or the reputation of the domain or IP has changed, we can do that and also detect the logos. And to show it to you here as well, we saw with things like Lee Jeans, how many different variations there are here. And of course, many customers have multiple brands. They can be in different countries and so on. So this is not a problem that scales with human beings. I think that's pretty obvious. But as you think about trying to keep up with this, it just doesn't happen without a platform like Redshift to help you understand everything that's going on and scale up. And we're covering new techniques or different techniques that come up here. So I've just used a website here where we changed the top level domain from .com to .net. And then you can see the other things going on here. We can show that the DMARC record, somebody can make a DMARC record and put it up for that on the lookalike, and it may throw us off thinking that it's safe when it isn't. And finally, what we got down to is customers have told me multiple times that they've seen people copy a whole website and put it over on a lookalike. That's right. So the attackers have gone to the trouble, and they've got very great tools to do it with now, to copy a whole website and put that up on another domain and make it look like they're operating as the company, ripping off the brands, the logos, and so on here. The payment goes to a different place on there. So these are things we want to make sure we understand. And you get the power of computer vision, so a form of AI that I mentioned. So we're seeing that the logos matched here. And the key thing of this is not just that the logos match, but it's that additional evidence. So takedowns are more effective. They take place in a shorter time frame, reducing your risk from that lookalike, from that doppelganger that's out here. And as I said with the takedown, we're able to put everything in one place. It's not that you can't go out to your legal department or reach out to a registrar and so on. It's that it's painful to do that, especially with the global attack surface where these lookalikes, these doppelgangers are being used on here. So you put it in, do the click, and then we work through things, our takedown service, to get that lookalike, that doppelganger, that evil doppelganger taken down as quickly as possible. And the last thing I showed here was the identities that we saw here. And with GPT, we're able to have AI generated translation. So I don't understand this character set, this language, but I can get it in my language. I don't have to go out and do some searching on there. I can get recommendations. I don't have to be an expert on this about whether I should enable these identities for monitoring or not. And they're automatically generated, classified here from the identities that are out here. So just to say that again, we're looking across DNS, whoisinfo, SSL certificates, and other things. And between hard and eyes and on domain, we're finding those identities for you. You don't have to piece through those to get to them. And as we've gone through the discussion and demo today, the threat exposure is a common theme. So if you think about threat exposure management, we're helping you in 4 areas here. So one is understanding what weaknesses an attacker may see. This is really important because security, the configuration and things you do work from the inside out, but the attackers see things from the outside in. And that means that if you want to validate what's going on, the changes you made to security or configuration, certificates, those things need to be seen from the outside in. Great example are certificates. There's talk about the expiration time moving from over a year to 3 months. And expired certificates are the bane of our existence. So being able to confirm that they've been renewed and rotated into the correct place are really important, because those aren't perfect processes that are on here. Second, when you do find something, you need to have actionable insight. So it's not just a list of everything. It's a continuous understanding of what the problem is, the priority of it, and how to fix it. And it's automated. So the asset inventory is continuously being maintained, and the assessments on those assets are continually being run. And it's very simple. You don't have to start a multi-month project, and you can simply put in a domain, and it's similar to Google. You put in the domain, and it starts working. Hard and eyes and on domain, as we've seen, will bring in the assets, identify your assets, do an assessment, and start understanding, helping you understand what to do from there. Now, don't take my word for it. The Gartner Group, well-known org, is saying that if you follow a CTEM approach, a program, you'll be 3 times less likely to suffer from a breach. 3 times less likely to suffer from a breach. So why wouldn't you do that? In fact, even if it's not accurate, what if it's only 2 times? You know, it's still a great win on there. So we'll go on into Q&A here. And I did want to remind you first off that this is a demo series, these Espresso demos. And so we'll continue to provide these and help you understand how to secure your complete attack surface, your email, domains, brand, your network perimeter on here. So look for more of these. Feedback, of course, is always welcome on what topics and things, but we'll continue to cover those. And finally, we definitely recognize that and appreciate the time you've spent to put into today. And in recognition of that, we want to offer a free cyber risk assessment. You can sign up here, just go to the URL, and we'll get that organized and scheduled with you to go through and share with you what we're seeing on here. Now, this is a great opportunity. We'd love it to be available to everybody, but it is limited. So I recommend you sign up so you don't miss out on the opportunity on here to do this. So let's go ahead and I'll take a look at Q&A here. I did really enjoy, there was a comment about Roland talked about Charlie Chaplin in the lookalike contest, and it was good fun to see all the different things that could happen. So yeah, this domain doppelganger topic is really it's just fascinating how people do it and how to take advantage of that. So the next question we had was in terms of this, what what kind of permissions are needed to do this? Sometimes if you took a look at what we're able to see, well, we're going through from public-facing assets. So the platform, Hard-Nice, is using public information and bringing that in, and the same with on-domain, so they're combined on that. We're looking to go a little deeper and have inside-out views in the future, but right now it's very powerful what you can get from just public-facing information on there. So what you saw there is what I was able to do without using any special access to lead genes or any logins or things that came up on there. We'll take one more that came up. Are there any more questions? We're just about the questions kind of at time about here. AI, and let me just summarize and say that we believe that the different forms of AI, some of them can be very powerful for what we do, and we don't use AI just for the sake of using AI. We're using it because it lets us do things we couldn't do before. So, for example, the machine vision for the logos, and understanding that these logos, could be on the side of a shoe or a building, so the power to be like a human and see and recognize that logo, even if it's not exactly in the same placement. That's a great example where AI improves things. And then also, of course, we mentioned with the identities today, this is a brand new feature based on GPT. So again, that's something where we see great value from it. We're not using AI just for the sake of it. We're using it because it provides value to you, our customers on there. So we're at the end of the hour here right now. So I will thank you again here, and please do take advantage of that free cyber risk assessment with the URL there. And we welcome any other feedback that you have on there. Thanks, and have a great day.